it's about the team. So if they have experience in this sector, what was the pain point that motivated them to start out by themselves and try and build a solution, or if it's someone that's come up with an idea in a new industry, then the kind of traction that they might have gathered by then, which is a signal for passive investors like myself.
Another episode of the Form Your Own Pack podcast, and our guest today is Sohin Shah. Sohin has been a judge on our winner takes all pitch events, so we're really excited now to also have him on the Form Your Own Pack podcast. How you doing, Sohin?
I'm doing well. How are you, Michael?
Very good. All right, so for people that don't know, who is Sohin Shah?
I am the co-founder of Instalend, which is a private lending organization for real estate. We lend on fix and flips and even 30-year rental loans nationwide. And I'm also an angel investor. I've been doing this for the past couple of years. Bless you. Invested in over 100 early stage companies.
That's terrific. And I know you've been a part of our pitch events, so that's been always fun. So what motivated you first off, I guess, to start Instalend?
Just looking at the challenge that existed for real estate developers in accessing private capital. If you go to banks and try to borrow, it takes forever, and they don't really understand how flipping a house works. So the leverage you get when you try to borrow money is not competitive. And so we wanted to try and create a solution which would allow for a different form of private capital to position itself to empowering entrepreneurship in the real estate sector.
Amazing. And then as well, since 2015, as you mentioned, you've been investing as an angel in startups. What sort of startups and sectors have you been focused
on? So I've not really had a sector focus. It's been more on the merits of the company and its traction, if any exists. But I have focused consciously on extremely early stage investments. They could be pre-seed or seed. In most cases, it could be just at product, just before product market fit. So there's a product that exists, maybe a couple of customers, which gives enough validation as for proof of concept.
And what sort of things are you looking for from the founders or the venture? What is interesting to you?
Really, it's about the team. So if they have experience in this sector, what was the pain point that motivated them to start out by themselves and try and build a solution, or if it's someone that's come up with an idea in a new industry, then the kind of traction that they might have gathered by then, which is a signal for passive investors like myself in terms of how their product is being received.
That's terrific. All right. And as both a founder and an investor, what are some of the companies or areas that you are really excited about right now?
Logistics, third-party logistics. I am very excited about that. There's a company I invested in its initial rounds called ShipBob. They last raised at $1 billion valuation,
Oh, wow.
and they just won't stop growing. So that's been a great company to see grow. Another company is Alto IRA, which is trying to disrupt the IRA investment sector. Again, great founder. He sold his last company for 9 figures, I believe.
Oh,
And
wow.
when he started Alto, it is a no-brainer that he should be back again.
Oh, that's terrific. Those both sound really exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So, given your history and your experience with founders, both as an investor and a co-founder of a company, what if you could only give one piece of advice to other founders, what would that be?
I would say get to revenue as soon as you can, and try and be positive on a per unit basis. But getting revenue is the best form of feedback you can get from the market, from your customers. And it really doesn't matter what your investors say otherwise. Your customers would never lie to you. So if they're paying to buy your product, it helps you understand what you're building is valuable. And once you have sales, I think you can start thinking about being cash flow positive as well, right? Just eliminating the need for trying to raise more funding, diluting further. Fundraising is always a big distraction for any entrepreneur. They'd rather focus their effort on building and managing the team and their clients as well. So I think in my journey as an entrepreneur, this has been one of the biggest lessons I've learned. And secondly, I think speak to your customers directly, at least when you're an early stage founder. If you have middlemen who are doing that for you, I think the messaging might be diluted, and you may not really understand how your product is being received or what it is that your customers expect.
That's really great advice. We had on my old podcast, I had talked with Rahul Vora. I don't know if you know Rahul from Superhuman.
Superhuman.
Yeah. And he onboarded his first 1,000 customers directly.
Yeah,
Like that seems insane when you
I
hear it,
think the
right?
best. Yeah,
But I think from that, it's like to your point, like you learn directly about the customer and you can make some product decisions and understand what their problems are and how you're solving them.
right. Absolutely.
All right. So as one of the themes that we hit on and one of the ideas behind Founders Pack and Form Your Own Pack is around partnerships and community. So what sort of role have partnerships or community been in your success or in the success of any of the ventures that you've invested in?
A huge part. At Instalend, we've not really invested in any marketing. All our growth has been through word of mouth, and so I like to believe we've had our growth through the community that we serve or we try to serve. And so if you have one happy customer, if you're doing your job well, they probably speak to 4 more people or 5 more people about your product and service, and then you can try and um, close a couple of those if you're doing a good job. So all our growth, I believe, has been community based, and I think it plays a huge role in the growth of any company.
Well, that's amazing. And we want to continue to follow your journey, but also invite you to participate in Founders Pack and some of the events that we have coming up. Remind me where you're based, actually. So I forget.
Based out of New York.
Oh, you are? Okay. So I keep getting requests to do something in New York, and I used to live in New York. So I think we'll do something before the end of the year. We'll make sure that I connect with you when I'm there. I want to wrap up with a couple quick things. First off is how do people get in touch with you?
My email address is sohin.shah@instalend.com. They can email me. They can follow me on Twitter, which is Sohin Shah1. That's the best way to get in touch with me.
Wonderful. And I will follow you because we have a brand new Twitter for Founders Pack. So I think we crossed 103 followers. We're pretty excited in a week.
Nice.
But hopefully eventually that'll get up to thousands and thousands. I know that we're just working through it. So we'll make sure we follow you, and we look forward to connecting with you there. All right. So the final thing is, as you know, when we have interesting people on the podcast, we like you to nominate other interesting people. We typically talk to either investors or founders of scalable ventures. So who would you, Sohin, like to nominate as a future guest of the Form Your Own Pack podcast?
A couple names come to mind, but I think there's an entrepreneur in the green energy space, energy retrofitting space, which I think has a lot of policy interest right now as well, with the president signing, the act recently. So
Oh,
I
right.
believe there's a startup in this space which is trying to get property owners free or low cost money for the purpose of upgrades. It's close to my heart because I'm familiar with the sector.
Right.
Uh, yeah, and so the entrepreneur is Hetal Parekh. Full disclosure, she's also my wife, but I've
Oh,
seen
there you go.
everyone. So
That counts. She's a good entrepreneur then, probably. So.
yeah, but I've also vetted her work, so I think in that regard, I can understand the pros and cons of the journey she's going through, and so I can, with a reasonable amount of certainty, say that she would make a good guest on your
That
podcast.
would be that's a great nomination. So, and is her name Hital? Is that what you said?
Right, Hital Parekh.
Hital. Great. All right. So Hital, you've been nominated by Sohin as a future guest. We look forward to seeing you then. Sohin, thank you so much for all your support. We look forward to seeing you in New York soon.
Thanks, Michael. I look forward to it as well.